Hello, everyone. So, today we are updating the stock market, and if you are here for the game development portion of the stream, that will be immediately afterwards. I also have something I want to talk about in terms of a future idea for the stream and for the channel. Just something I want to throw out there because it's something that interests me and I think I'd be pretty good at. So I am going to get straight into the stock market updates. So we have the stock market pulled up here, and I'll switch the screen so you can see that. Let me just get it so I can see that. So you can see that the stock market did take a little bit of a hit last week because of the bad market factor. And so we have some lower values. Boring Boris is still holding true at 100,000 due to the fact that he has no fluctuation ever. Even Steven is still above 100,000, showing that the stock market has not gone below its beginning value. But we are going to get it all fluctuated. So did go check the votes before the stream started, and we were a little bit low on participation. I tried to get some requests out to some people to make sure that it wasn't too skewed in my favor, and I think there was some miscommunication with that because I think I a couple people said that they voted, but then there was only one extra vote on the poll. So I think that possibly people had voted on the wrong videos, but we are going to go with what it has because that's how it went. If you want to ensure that there is no skew in the next fluctuation, then you can vote up in the corner right now. The poll should be there. I believe it is. Um, yes, it is. And we will see what we are going to do with the fluctuations. So, first off, I will read the percentages. Red got a 100, and I guess you can guess what the others got. They got zeros, 0, 0, and so we just need to decide what the market factor is, and we're going to pull up a random number from the random number generator, 0 through 50, and it is 6. So not only did red get 100% of the vote, we also had an amazing day in the market. So if we put 6 here, you can see that yellow, green, and blue have not gone down by that much. They went down by 6, and red has skyrocketed. Red has gone from extremely below its beginning value to relatively over its beginning value at 139. Now all the stocks started at 100 Jonos, so I'm going to click new market here. We will zero out the market factor, and you can see that the new values of the stock are showing. Now, we do notice that there has been some changes in the positioning on the stock on the scoreboard here. So we're gonna grab these. We're gonna sort from largest to smallest, and you notice that I have now overtaken Megan, my girlfriend, in the stock market. So that's interesting. We will see if that lasts because she's not too far behind, but I did break that 300,000, which I had not done yet before. I guess that was a redundant statement. I said yet and before. So we're going to put these over into the historic data. So 139, 111, 139, 111, 119, 213. 119 213, and we will put 10. So I think it's crazy that this has been going for 10 weeks already, but we will see. And look at that spike. I've been it may seem a little skewed that I've been a part of both of these large spikes here with blue and now with red, but I guess when I am always voting in the polls, then it tends to have a significant effect So yellow is still bouncing back and forth. Green is still on its slightly downward trend. Blue is still on its slightly downward trend since its peak, which meant I kind of got out at the right time. So we can see that my value has gone up a lot, and I think it would be safe to say that I should sell out some of my red. So I'm going to go ahead and sell 1,000 of the red that I have, just so I have some money to play around with in the weeks to come. So we're going to clear. So red is at a value of 139. So 1,000 times 139, that'd probably be pretty easy to do in my head, but that is 139,000. So I'm going to add that to my 19,000, 19,331. And my new value over here is 158,331, and this value is now 250. Enter. So you can see that my assets value has leveled out to the same value it was before. So that is all we are going to do for the stock market. I'll give you one last look at the historic data, and we are going to be moving on to the talk that I am going to be having with my AI. I'm not talking to my AI, but I'm talking about my AI. So I'm going to actually start it up right away, and then we are going to start talking about it. So what is happening on the screen over here is that I have the game set up, but what's different from last time is that the AI is actually learning while it's playing the game. Now, it's not learning from me playing the game yet. That is something that I do plan to implement in the future. And what I'm doing right now, I'm the one that's in the middle, and the AI is going up into the corner for some reason. But I'm going to go hide down between these boxes because that's the most difficult place to find me, I would see in this randomly generated arrangement. And we may have to restart it. I'm not completely sure if this is a problem, but I was seeing that the AI was tending to get stuck in the corners, and I'm wondering if it's something environmental, whether it's colliding with the walls that I've set up in a weird way where it can't get back out. So we'll let it run for a little bit because what's happening is every single tick of every single frame of the game is another adjustment of a weight. So it's adjusting one weight every single frame. And the current setup that I have for the neural network, the input is that it has a 3x3 vision, so it can see. Oh, and so it got out of the corner, so we'll let it run. It has a 3x3 vision, so you can imagine like a box around the AI in pixels that it can see, and then it has a compass from around that, so it can tell what direction, no matter how far away the user is, that the user is. So it can tell what direction it would need to go in the future, and it can see immediate collision possibilities. So sorry about that. If there's like a box right in front of it and it's trying to move into it, it will be showing on its vision. So then it can make decisions based off of that. But that is the input, and that is 1/3 of the input. The other third of the input, the other 2/3 of the input are the two past visions. So if things are changing, it will give a little. It'll get a little idea of that. So if the AI is here and then moves here, and so the compass quadrant for the user is in a different section, then it will have knowledge that it used to be in one place and is now in another place. Now that is happening very fast, but what you can do with that is you can actually take slopes based off of the fact that you have two very close instances in time. And so it's something interesting that the AI can play around with. And it's something that I'm pretty sure is relatively well used. So the AI is starting to make some decisions that seem like it's moving towards me. And it's funny when it gets into some obstructions because sometimes it gets confused and does a little dance there. But we will see. I'm just going to let it run while I'm talking here, and it has been, every single time it has been finding me, and it looks like it might actually be locked on right now. So I don't know if it's going to collide with that box there, so I might actually run to see if I can get it to collide with that box, and see if it can figure out how to get around that. But you can see it is not happy with that box. Um, so we're going to let that squirm around for a bit. And that's pretty much all I wanted to show you with the AI. I will mention it is running extremely slow, and it's something that I plan to change in the future. What's happening is, instead of just going directly to the weight that it needs to change, it has to go through and scan through every single weight and decide which one it wants to change. So it essentially, it goes to the first one and it changes that, and then it goes and it checks and it says, oh, I'm not changing the first one this time. So then it changes the second one, and then it goes and it keeps going all the way through all of the weights, which is a really inefficient way to do it, because it means that every single cycle it's cycling through a large nested for loop structure, which is not good for program speed. Um, and so I am going to work out a way in which it can just skip immediately to the weight that it needs to fix at that time, and it will then should be a lot faster. But the actual process of adjusting the weight is a fairly slow process, because it requires it to run it in a simulation. So it's essentially simulating a game environment exactly like this, but randomized, where the boxes are in a different position, the AI starts in a random position, and the user starts in the middle. So I mentioned that the AI is currently not learning from this visualization. It is creating its own simulation of a possible scenario, and it is learning from these random scenarios. Now, in these scenarios, the user is not moving. So all it is learning to do is to move towards the user. It can't make any assumptions based off of movement, because the user itself in the simulation is not moving. Now, it may be able to just get the job done with simple tracking, because that's a fairly simple thing to do. But in terms of intelligent decisions, when the user is running away, it could the person playing could possibly try and lead the AI into a trap where it is blocked in from 3 different directions. And the problem with that is that the AI won't be able to keep track of the fact that the user's moving. It will just be making decisions as if the user's in one place. But I have seen in the past, when I was playing around with this earlier, the AI getting some awareness of obstructions. So it would run into a box, it would sit there, but then it would move itself around the box. Now, what you're seeing on the screen right now, the AI is, I believe, immediately above the user right now, down here in the corner, down by the box. And the problem with that is it's sitting directly between 2 compass sectors. And so why that's problematic, and I'm not sure if that's actually true. I thought that I set it up where there was a upwards sector, there were diagonal sectors, there was 2 side sectors, 2 bottom diagonals, and then the downwards sector. But it seems that the AI tends to get stuck on these vertical and horizontal lines. And what happens with that is that it is deciding to go either left or right, and it is constantly switching between the two, which is why you see it dancing like that. So this is something where I'm going to be improving the AI as well as the speed of the game as I flesh this out. But I think this was a pretty nice conceptualization of what I want to actually be happening, because what's going to happen is, if I'm successful with this, there will be a relatively large environment, and the AI will just spawn somewhere far off, and slowly have to make its way to the user before the user completes a task, which is what I need to flesh out is the actual gameplay. At the moment, it's more of like a hide and seek kind of game where you have a third person omniscient view of the whole environment and you can control one of the characters. Also, you'll notice I still haven't skinned the enemy here, the salesman. It's just the same soccer mom shape that I've skinned for the user, but it's something that I'm going to be working on as I get more in depth into the fleshing out of this game. I'm just kind of working on the actual um, behind the scenes software kind of stuff, and then once I work all of that out and have an AI that can run while the game is still running smoothly, I will then start to implement more complex visuals and actual gameplay. So for right now, I'm pretty happy with this. I might actually restart it just to see if we can get a better environment and some better weights, beginning weights, just to see if we can actually see it find my character, because it was doing it earlier. So I don't want to jip you guys out of the opportunity of seeing that. It's pretty funny when it locks onto the character. This is a pretty spread out environment, so I'm just going to let it go without hiding behind any boxes because I'm kind of in this little pocket of boxes here down. Oh, you can see my mouth on the screen. Okay, well, we'll see. Yeah, you can see it's doing the boogie up there. Um, I did add I added a wall on the top, and that wall is actually a little bit into the screen because the x and y coordinates of the player, the object that I've created, the class. If you're programming, um, the x and y coordinates are associated with the feet of the character, and this was important for this two-dimensional 3D collisions because I have these parallelograms that are the shapes of the actual collision space that the boxes represent. So if you imagine that there's a huge plane of zeros, there is a parallelogram of uh, twos in those zeros that the AI can run into, or the character can run into. So I can go over here and run into this box. Um, Actually, the actual movement of my character seems to be provoking some effect from the AI, and we'll see. I think it's just gonna run right into me, so that's pretty nice. Um, okay, it stopped, but you know, I guess it's kind of messing around with me. So I'm gonna leave it running, but I have something else I want to talk about. I had an idea. I actually had a couple ideas for future streams. Just something that I thought would be interesting, and I wanted to throw it out there to get your guys' input on that. Essentially, what the idea is to have a sort of story thing. So I, I don't know why I said it like that. So if you know the game Dungeons and Dragons, there's a setup where you have a moderator who's the DM, the dungeon moderator. I think it's dungeon moderator, but essentially it's a randomizer driven story kind of thing. So what you have is you have some sort of element of chance with dice and randomizers, and the moderator is creating this story while also playing in with actual statistics and sort of levels and whatnot with charisma and things like that. And so the people that would be playing would be making the decisions, but the random chance is controlled by the moderator. What I am thinking would be an interesting idea would be to have guests on the stream and just kind of do something like that. Not necessarily Dungeons and Dragons exactly, because Dungeons and Dragons has a lot of restricted kind of things that are you always have to do, and there's a certain way you're supposed to play it. I'd kind of like to just take my own liberties with it, which is why I'm saying that I'm not necessarily going to be calling it Dungeons and Dragons, but it's something that I thought would be interesting and would be entertaining for people to just kind of chill out and listen to as it goes on. So if that's something you'd be interested in watching or participating in, then let me know either in the chat, or you can let me know at some other point in time. But that's something that I think I might do in the future. I don't know how soon I would be doing that. I have a couple more actual discussion streams that I want to get out before I lose interest in those. So I will be talking about those in the weeks to come. And also, I had this random idea. It's probably not something that I'd be able to do anytime soon, but I think that it'd be really cool to have a YouTube decathlon. It's something that I've been tossing around in my head, but it essentially would be something where there would be 10 events because it's a decathlon, but since everybody wouldn't necessarily be in the same place, these events would have to be videotaped through like a GoPro or something and uploaded to YouTube. And so what you would do is you'd probably have to set up some sort of website so you can track all of the actual participation in it, assuming it was relatively large. If it were pretty small, then you could keep track of it locally in like an Excel sheet and just run on Trust. But what I was thinking was that it would be something where you would have like 3 days to do whatever event, and like if it were like running a certain distance, then you would have 3 days to accomplish that, and then you would have to post the video proving what time you actually ran that distance in, and so everything would be tallied up, and it would just be kind of something where it's like whoever won the most events would win the entire thing. I think it'd be pretty fun, but what is required for that is to either have a bunch of YouTuber friends or just to have general admission, but I'd have to be a little bit more organized with that, because if there were more people participating, then we would have to set up like a website or something for that. So that's distant future, maybe when I have a little bit more following on the channel, but I think it's an idea that I'm really interested in, because I definitely value athletics and exercise. So I think it'd be something fun to kind of it'd be sort of like a sporting event, but you would know the person that was involved in it pretty closely, and then you could root for that person and watch their event firsthand, which I think would be a cool idea. Now, there are some things that wouldn't necessarily you wouldn't be able to do, like you couldn't have like a team sport, because then how would you do that across distances? That wouldn't really make sense. But I don't know. It's something I've been tossing around. So if that's something that interests you, then post your suggestions in the chat and show me that you are interested, I guess. I don't know. I'm just kind of brainstorming some stuff, but I plan to have fun with whatever I do. So I'm pretty happy with how the AI is turning out, although I know that it's not necessarily up to par with what it can be. So I will be making adjustments in the weeks to come. But I wanted to make sure I could show you guys this visual so you can kind of get an idea of what the game will be like. Now, hopefully the AI will be a little bit better at chasing by the time that I make like a finished product, not necessarily a finished product, but like an alpha or something that people could download and play. That's also something that I need to look a little bit more into, how to develop a Python script into something that people can just download off the internet and play on their computer without downloading Python. I'm sure there's a way to do it, but it's a little interesting with an interpreted language. So I'm going to be looking into that, but we're pushing on 25 minutes here, so I want to sign off. But I do want to mention, if you didn't catch the stream that we had last weekend, my sister came on the stream, and it was pretty well received. I posted it on, she's studying physical therapy up at UF, and so she came and talked about just generally what physical therapy is, because a lot of people don't really understand. And I posted it on one of the physical therapy Reddit pages, and everybody seemed to like it, because it was a sort of just a general overview of the topic. and she did a pretty good job with it. So um, if you haven't seen that, go check it out. I might put a link up in the corner, but I don't know. But other than that, I am signing off. So I will be seeing you on Saturday, and I believe I have an interesting kind of just personal theory topic. So those are always fun. So look forward to that.